Hi, I'm Jen Ziegler, and I'm a real estate agent in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is an hour outside of Toronto. I wanted to talk to you today about something super crucial that I'm going to put on you as a seller when it comes to taking a look at your new listing. So your agent has got your property up on the market, and there's a lot of onus on you, and I think a lot of people don't do this step, but I think it's really important to take the time to really preview through your whole listing. Check for clerical errors is one thing that I think a lot of agents don't do, or not agents, but sellers. You want to double check the work and just make sure that there's no issues. You want to make sure that the bedrooms are mentioned properly, the bathrooms are mentioned properly, and also that the description makes you feel like you want to buy it. Because so often people maybe have done this all the time, so they kind of write a description based on their perspective of what they want to market, but make sure you're sitting down with your realtor and saying, you know, did you know that back behind the house there's a baseball diamond and you can walk back there and the kids play, you know, baseball every night at 6? Things like that are super, super exciting for people, and it's also part of creating a lifestyle around just the home. So make sure that you're taking the time to just make sure that there's no issues. Other things, like I've seen listings come up that said $55,000 a year in property taxes. Can you imagine? And it was supposed to be $5,500. And not to say that people wouldn't realize that that's obviously a huge difference, but even if one person skips over your listing because they can't afford $55,000 in property taxes, so basically everyone would skip over it if they didn't realize that that would be an obvious clerical error. You just want to make sure that you're not missing anybody because there's a typo made. And a lot of different boards have different systems, so sometimes there's just somebody at the board that puts up our listings, so we aren't in control. So it's always great to just double check, triple check, read it through, send it to a couple different family members, making sure that everything looks great before it hits the market. Another thing that I think is super important when it comes to looking at your listing, make sure that the photos are a true representation of your property. Make sure that the photos are marketing the whole property. I personally don't like photos that just zoom in on one thing like a bench, because the bench isn't going to stay there. That's my personal preference with my listings, so I never have those type of photos. So when I get the photographer's photos, I pick through the ones that I think are the best representation and also the best angles. Some angles make houses look huge, some make them look small, some make the yard look like a weird dimension. You want to make sure that everything looks exactly how you want to market it, and I think that's just super crucial, and that you aren't hiding anything, because there's no sense in trying to hide the fact that there's a factory in your backyard because somebody's just going to come and then not like it. And I know the idea is getting people inside the door, but I think it's just better to be open and honest and transparent so that people can understand exactly what they're going to buy before they come and take a look at the property. So make sure that once your listing is ready to hit the market, you just take that time to go through everything and ask questions. I appreciate that most of my clients have so much faith in me that they just let me do what I want to do, but I think it's really important that you ask questions, not to say that you don't understand why, but just to get a good idea of like, hey, I was just wondering, why didn't you mention that we just put in brand new blue carpet in the basement? And then your agent's like, well, it's not an upgrade in my opinion, even though it's new, because the color isn't great. I had that experience where I listed a house and there was brand new blue carpet and I didn't market it because I don't know how this lady found blue carpet in 2015. It didn't make sense to me. But sometimes people want to market things that maybe I don't think will create a big draw, but ask the question. It's important to know and just make sure it's not getting missed. And I think a great agent will be honest with you and say, okay, no, I don't think we should mention this, but I think we should really play on this. Or sometimes when someone has a very specific style, or they've done their kitchen in a way that maybe won't be pleasing to a ton of people, then maybe that's not something that's marketed as heavily. And there's reasons for that, because often if they think it's going to be something that'll be a drawback, then they may or may not choose to draw a lot of attention to it. Or being a 2-bedroom. Maybe it's in a family neighborhood and we don't want to draw a lot of attention to the fact that it's 2-bedroom. We want to draw attention to everything else so that hopefully if we find a family with 2 kids, they'll just overlook it. Or if it's a big bedroom, we can say, will fit 2 kids, and then maybe we make sure from a staging standpoint we have bunk beds. So if we do have a family that's looking at the property with 2 kids, they can see how they would set that up in order to accommodate. All these little things are very important when it comes to marketing your property, and it's all little things that through the years I've just picked up and learned, and I think it's important to be able to understand exactly the product you're marketing, understand exactly why your real estate agent is marketing that way, and understand the value in what's being mentioned. So thanks so much for listening. I'm Jen Ziegler. Take care.